basis of merit. And that's really the challenge. Since they took the business.
We're live, but ready for the arm.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I know it's late in the afternoon, but we're so grateful and thankful for you all coming to gain some more knowledge and have a conversation about Oakland's police chief search. And so we're grateful to the Oakland Police Commission, to our very own Sister Angela. Let's give it up for the and for doing the tedious work of involving the community in all of these efforts, right? As an organizer as well, it's hard when you're trying to get the community's input and community doesn't always come out. But we understand that we keep tugging away because these are the moments that are meaningful and these are the opportunities that we definitely need to draw the community closer. So I just kind of offer opening remarks by Reverend Jeremy McCain, affectionately known as Pastor J, Senior Pastor here at Imani Community Church. And we are grateful to host this conversation and getting grateful to the Oakland Police Commission. And I'll just open this up with a brief word of prayer, then I'll toss it over to Angela. Let us pray together. God of all creation, God, we thank you for this moment. Thank you for this town hall of shared learning, God, of shared leadership. And God, in understanding that the safety of our communities is a responsibility of us all. God, so continue to allow us to grow into that calling, to grow into investing and holding the city accountable to investing into community-led approaches that curb violence and that gives our youth and our young adults opportunities and spaces of belonging. That they are yearning and seeking after in the streets, God. So we pray again for churches, for community gatherings. God, I pray over the Oakland Police Commission, God, for their tedious work, for their passionate work, God, continue to give them perseverance, give them vision as they continue to lead out this work. And God, I ask that you continue to be an edge of protection on Oakland as we are pursuing and searching for our next Oakland chief. God, be with the interim chief, God, and all those who are serving and putting their bodies on the front line, God. So we again ask that you show up in the conversations, be in the joy, be in the tensions, but ultimately allow us to grow closer to you as we grow closer to each other. And we ask all these things in the name of the God of all creation. And we all said, amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Jay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for spending your afternoon with us. I know it's sunny outside. Before I get started, I would like to invite Ms. Diana Bell up to speak a little bit about the social justice ministry and some of the initiatives there.
Thank you, Angela, and good afternoon. I will say, first, I will ask that the social justice administrative team members from Imani, you all will stand so that the commissioners who don't know, you recognize us as part of that ministry. Thank you. Thank you. I am Diana Bell. I'm a founding member of this church, and we're into our 30th year. We will celebrate it in December. And I share that because we are rooted here and have been rooted here in Oakland and in this space for the lion's share of those 30 years minus 2 or 3 months. We are committed to this space and to this area and to furthering our work. Behind me is the vision for our church, which is faith to change the world. And our theme for this year is back to basics, Jesus is Lord. I share that because we are Christian and we're not ashamed of that. We also are open to all people. And so we encourage community engagement. I'm going to share with you the vision of our social justice ministry that we just worked on in our last retreat. This ministry at Imani Community Church educates, empowers and mobilizes congregants to advocate for equity, to alleviate suffering, and instigates systemic change. This ministry aims to transform the local community, Alameda County, and beyond through inclusive civic and community engagement. We encourage every member of Imani to act as a change agent, drawing inspiration from biblical principles to embody their faith in action. And last year, following the election, we were moved to one of our members to use faith, not fear, as a focal point for our programs and our engagement. And one of our members is wearing the orange t-shirt that says faith, not fear. Because we understand that often action can be stifled because of fear. And because we are a religious community, we think it's important to keep our faith relevant. And to that end, in our mission, when we said alleviate suffering, we see that as part of the call that is upon us from our Christian faith and belief. Some of the programs that we have led under Faith Not Fear have included civic town halls similar to this. We've had our council person here in District 4, so Councilmember Ramachandra and her staff have been here multiple times. Councilmember Pike is a member of our community, and she has been here obviously as a member. And as well, the mayor has been here, so we are a congregation that believes that we should have a voice in what's happening in the city, and we also really encourage our members to vote. A lot of our messaging is around getting people engaged, understanding the process, the timing, to make sure that they know how to engage in that system. We also have had and believe in having connections and partnerships with community organizations. We did a voter rights training here in partnership with the Anti-Police Terrorism Project. And we are continuing to look at other nonprofit organizations that we can partner with, that we have like goals. I want to also mention, give you just a sense of the types of the members who are here. We have firefighters who are part of our congregation. We have retired and active law enforcement professionals who are part of our congregation. We have people who are educators. We have people who are civil servants in different roles. We have people who are corporate, and we have people who are retired fully. We have young people. We are an intergenerational congregation, and I think Angela and her family are clear examples of it. Angela, your commission member, is here with her baby and her mom. And when we come to church on Sundays, we have a lot of multi-generations that are part of our service. I share that because to this congregation, maintaining and creating a world that we want to see our babies live in is really key. And our legacy is those babies, and we know them and they know us, and that's really important. And we want them to be safe. Last year, I think, was becoming sanctuary, and that's how we think of this place and our space around it, that we want our whole community to feel safe and to feel that they have a sanctuary in Oakland. And so I leave you with that. And I'll make a final statement about Angela and also another member of our congregation. We obviously have a ministry team that's focusing on social justice alone. So our pastor is quite engaged, and it keeps us engaged, and so that our former founding pastor. But because that is so much a part of who we are as Imani, we have people like Angela who would go out and find a position and get appointed to a police commission. We have other members, and these young people who have families who are on other kinds of commissions. So they're doing their social justice work. We have people through our fraternities and sororities and other organizations. So we are, as a ministry team, really happy today to have this opportunity, and thank you for choosing us as one of your sites. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bell. Thank you so much to the Social Justice Ministry for inviting us, hosting us, and keeping us civically engaged, civically minded always. With that, I'll just cover a few little basics, and then I'll do some introductions, and we can get started, so it won't take up too much of your time. First, I'd like to shout out, our wonderful Chief of Staff for the Police Commission, Michael Montgomery. Our guy is back here as well, and then we have Mario here, who is a full-time city employee, but is dedicating some time out of this normal workday to take notes at all of our community meetings. I'd also like to thank Sister Sloan. She's not here today, but she was amazing. She did all of the coordination with us, a lot of back and forth, making sure we're insured and everyone is safe in the building. So I want to just publicly thank her for all of her efforts. And with that, I will talk a little bit about the commission. We do have our commission chair here, Mr. Ricardo Garcia Costa. We also have our newest commissioner, a retired judge, Commissioner Grillo, sitting here. And I will formally introduce our consultant, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the police commission, give folks a brief overview about the work that we do, and why it's so important that you're here today. So, the police commission, was voted in, by Oakland residents, in 2016. Overwhelmingly, by over 83% of Oakland, residents wanted to see this type of civilian oversight. We are an independent body that serves as, oversight for the police department policies and procedures. The legislature also established, the Community Police Review Agency, which is responsible for investigating allegations of police misconduct, and also recommending discipline. We also have the Office of the Inspector General that the Police Commission oversees as well. They're responsible for conducting audits on the negotiated tasks, the negotiated settlement agreement tasks. And we do have, I'm not gonna miss it, Ms. Monica as well. She's out in the audience. She also is in the foyer, but she's the PIO for the Office of the Inspector General and lends her time to help the Police Commission as well. So thank you, Monica, for being here. In addition to these responsibilities, the Police Commission is also responsible and has the power to fire and hire a chief. Will recommend the hiring of the chief. So we're here today to get your perspectives on what priorities you want to see for the Oakland Police Department, but also what priorities you want to see in a new chief. The priorities, but also the qualifications of a new chief. And so I will say that this is one of 6 of our community forums. We have 3 more. This is our 3rd, and this is a small but mighty group. Actually, it's pretty. I think it's maybe the largest we've had to date. The first one was very small. So your voice is to be heard. We welcome everyone up to the microphone. If you don't want to come to the microphone, feel free to maybe speak loudly, but we prefer the microphone because we do have K-Talk here. And I think that it's just going to be imperative that we get as much community input as possible for the duration of this process. We really want to identify a chief that represents Oakland, that's here for Oakland, and wants to stay in Oakland. After we've done our selection with the assistance of Chief Hahn, we are then charter mandated to provide a slate of 4 candidates to the mayor. At that time, she will make the final selection on a new police chief. Thank you. Now I will introduce Chief Hahn. Daniel Hahn joined Ralph Anderson and Associates and conducts police chief recruitments around the country after retiring from a career of 34 years in law enforcement. Chief Hahn served as the first African-American police chief, first and last, okay, first and last police, African-American police chief in the cities of Roseville and Sacramento. He recently served as the Dean of Sacramento Regional Public Safety Center at American River College and Vice President of Security Operations for the Sacramento Kings. He's an adjunct professor at Sacramento State University, and he teaches a course to law enforcement leaders on race and policing for the California Police Chiefs Association. Mr. Hahn, Chief Hahn, was raised in the Oak Park neighborhood of Sacramento after being adopted at 3 months old. He witnessed gun violence, including a murder when he was only 9 years old, and was arrested for resisting an officer when he was 16 years old. His brother was a victim of gun violence and was murdered in downtown Sacramento in 1992. All of this has obviously helped inform and shape his career. And he was sworn into Roseville's as Roseville's 15th chief of police and served for 6 years before coming back to his hometown of Sacramento as the 45th chief of police for the Sacramento Police Department, where he led the whole department through unprecedented social unrest and the innovative evolution of public safety. When I first met Chief Hahn, I asked him if he was applying for the right job because he sounded like he wanted to be chief of police for Oakland. Or maybe I was just doing some wishful thinking on my behalf. But instead, he's serving as our consultant, and we appreciate his hard work, his diligence, and his thoroughness in helping us find the right person for our city. Thank you.
Can everybody hear me? Okay, so I'm gonna leave the mic to all of you. Unless you tell me you can't, halfway through you can't hear me, then I'll grab the mic. Couple things before we jump in. Obviously, you've probably seen this up here. It's on Zoom, so people that aren't here can watch and listen on Zoom also. Monica, if you could raise your hand. Monica will bring the mic to you when you have an answer to one of the questions, unless this board won't make it all the way to you. In that case, if you can kind of come towards the center aisle, that way Mario can hear you, the folks on Zoom can hear you. You met Mario. Mario, raise your hand. Here. Mario is taking notes. So all of the things that you say later in April, I will go before the commission in their open session and give the themes of all the things that all of you said throughout the 6 meetings. But the commissioners will also have all the notes. So if they want to see exactly what every meeting said, they can read the notes. So that's why Mario is graciously here on a day he does not normally work, on a Sunday, to make sure that your voice is heard by the commissioners who have the task of picking at least 3 people to send forward to the mayor. And we're hoping that it's 3 people that would all 3 be really great chiefs, and it makes their job and the mayor's job really, really hard. That's what we're hoping for. So you're gonna help us do that. So I'll say one thing before we get started that I said to the commission, and I also said to the city staff and to the mayor's office. When you think about these questions, and I have 5 questions, so we won't keep you here all day. At the end of that, I will also ask you if there's anything we didn't cover that you think is important, please share it. But what I'd like you to think about as we go through all these questions is not what would make a good police chief in general, but what would make a good police chief in Oakland, in your city? What would be your good police chief? Because Oakland's unique, right? Raise your hand if you think Oakland's unique. Right? Yeah, I would definitely say Oakland is unique. Right? So somebody that is a great police chief somewhere else might be a miserable failure in your city. So as you're thinking about your answers to these questions, don't think in general what would make a good police chief, but specific to your town, to your city, what would make somebody at least have the ability to be a great chief. Then it's up to them whether they actually perform it, right? So with that, I'm honored to help the commission through this process and hopefully find some great candidates for police chief. Because Oakland holds a special place in my heart. You heard the commissioner say that I'm from Sacramento. I was born and raised in Sacramento. But I have family in Oakland. You heard her mention I was adopted at 3 months old. In my 20s, I met my biological father, and he is from West Oakland. He went to McLean. And so, there you go. He would definitely appreciate that if he was still living. And so I had about 16 years with my father, great 16 years, have a great relationship with my family. I still have some aunts that live in West Oakland. And I spent a lot of time growing up, not growing up, in my 20s in Oakland. I'll just leave it at that. I was in Oakland usually on Friday and Saturday night, quite often. At times of the night that I am closer to waking up now than I am going to bed. So I'll just leave it at that. So, a little bit about the process. Angela mentioned that a little bit, but the process in Oakland is its own unique process. And so the charge is that the commission is responsible for the vast majority of this process. They're responsible for the process right now. They're the ones that said it's important to hear your voice. And so right now, starting on the 20th, I believe, of February, the job posting was posted, and it's posted in every major law enforcement organization across the country. Things like somebody mentioned earlier, NOBLE, National Organization for Black Law Enforcement Executives, the Hispanic Organization, the Women's Organization, the International Associations of Police Chiefs, all the locations where people that are aspiring to be police chief go to look for positions that are open. So that's been posted since the 20th. It will be up until March 30th. So it will be posted basically for 5 weeks. So people have 5 weeks to put in. We've already had several applicants to put in. Some, I'm sure the commission will go, not a chance, right? And some they'll go, this person looks promising. And so they'll choose to interview that person. So there already are some applicants. I can tell you right now, today's environment is not what it was 10 or 15 years ago. Like when I went to Roseville, West Sacramento, to be police chief in Roseville, there was 40 plus applicants. When I left SACPD to retire at the end of 2021, I think there was like 9 or 10 applicants. So, there's not as many, there's more people now that probably would rather be a deputy chief than a chief, right? And then you add on top of that the uniqueness of Oakland. You're really looking for somebody that I'm sure you guys will describe over the next 30 or 40 minutes. So it closes on the 30th of this month. The commission will then get all the applicants, all of them, the ones that they will choose not to interview and the ones that they will choose to interview. And they will go through that and they will select a slate of people they think are worthy of being interviewed for the position to be your police chief. And so at the end of April through the beginning of May, they will conduct interviews with the candidates that they choose. Then they will go through a process with the full commission. Well, they'll be discussing things like the information that you shared, the information they learned through the interviews, and then there will also be background information on each candidate. So we research their credit, their criminal history, all their stuff that's online, and provide that to the commission also. So in other words, if you get to the point where the mayor is swearing in somebody, there won't be a surprise the next day that this story was posted 2 years ago online that said some scandal and you didn't know about it, right? We don't want that to happen. We want them to be able to take that into consideration. And so they will go through that process, and sometime in June, if all goes as planned, the full commission will forward at least 3 candidates to the mayor. And then the mayor will surely probably do interviews and a process herself. And at some time, probably mid to late July, the mayor will hopefully be announcing your next police chief. And hopefully the things you say today, you'll be able to see reflected in that person. I can tell you, I don't really expect there to be a lot of difference on the core things between all the meetings, because so far I've done several interviews with key stakeholders around Oakland, and they have some differences, but there's also some core things saying that I guess you could say, yep, you must be from Oakland. You feel this police chief is going to be need to be certain people. Let me just ask you this, because this is a common thing. Let's see if all of you agree. This is something common that I've heard. That your next police chief, your next good police chief, is going to need to have courage, because at some point somebody's going to yell at them and they can't wither away and crawl in a corner. They got to continue to perform. Do you agree with that? Okay, so see, there's some commonality. All right. Any questions on that? All right, so I'm gonna start, yes.
Oh, I was wondering if you could, maybe this will come later, about what the criteria or have you set criteria?
I have not set any criteria, but the commission has, and the city rules have. So they have to, I think it's 20 years of experience, and we'll get to that in one of the questions, but these aren't gonna be new people, right? They wouldn't be they wouldn't even be considered by the commission if they were like a brand new officer, didn't have the experience, but I think they have to have a college degree, they have to have, I think typically it's a captain or above, so they have to have had leadership positions, so it won't be a new, inexperienced person to meet the minimum, and that's the minimum, right? They don't get to pass the first step if they don't meet those. And you can see it online, I think the brochure and all the qualifications are on the commission's website. The other thing is out in the back on the table as you walked in, you probably passed it as you walked in. There's little flyers about this size. There's now English, Chinese, and Spanish flyers. So if you have neighbors, friends, that aren't able to be here and aren't, but might be able to be at the last 3 meetings, or people that can't go to any of them, but they still want their voice heard, on that same flyer, there's a link to a survey that has the same questions you guys will be answering here. And they could submit that on the survey, and so the commission will get their answers electronically as opposed to in person. And there's a link to the Zoom link. So if they missed the first 3 meetings, but they want to watch on Zoom, then they can watch it at any of the last 3 meetings. Any questions on that?
Siobhan?
Yes.
Respond real quickly. Also Suzanne, so the desired qualification, well, the minimum qualifications, desired qualifications are part of the job description. They're posted online, but we've not yet done our interview protocol, and outlined our requirements and, for our interviews. And so I think a lot of the information that we gathered here today will be used to inform our interview protocols and how we'll approach, getting the information back to candidates around.
And in addition to people seeing the posting and putting in for the position, I also reach out to people that, based on what you have said, I've talked to every one of the commissioners, what they said, what the mayor has said, and people I think fit that bill, I'll reach out, cold call. So, hey, are you, open, are you interested? I can say some that I've done that with said no, but some have actually said yes. So, and are planning on putting in. So not only is it reactive in terms of people putting in, but I would reach out to people I think fit that bill also. A lot of that is based on what all of you said, because that outreach will continue through the 30th. Any other questions on any of that before we jump into the first question? Okay, first question. Now that we've talked a lot about the police chief, the first question is not about. So, I'd like to start off with that. What do you feel are the top priorities? So what do you think are the top priorities right now for the Oakland Police Department in general? What do you think are the top priorities? What do you think should be the top priorities for your police department right now? Yes.
Sex trafficking.
Sex trafficking. All right, very good. Yes.
911 response times.
So quicker, I assume, quicker 911 response times? Okay.
Or response.
At all?
At all.
Okay, very good. Responding to 911 calls? Yes.
The appropriate police response.
All right, the appropriate police response. Are we still good volume wise?
Yeah, he was great.
Okay. So everybody talk as loud as the gentleman in the back.
Thanks, Miles.
You were very, I can hear you. Okay. Yes. What else? What do you think right now should be, in your mind, in your city, the top priorities for your police department? Yes.
You need to. Police officer. You got enough.
Increase staffing of officers on the police department. We don't have enough. Got it? Right.
Safety of all citizens.
Safety of all citizens. Very good.
Getting all the police department, out of federal, oversight.
Oversight. Getting the police department out, from under the court oversight. Yes.
A person who understands the definition of safety and how that encompasses people who are housing insecure, have mental health issues, that definition of safety has to be very broad.
Okay, broad definition of safety that includes all sorts of different issues throughout Oklahoma. Good, yes.
Honesty and integrity, which is not in the whole process.
Department wide, honesty, integrity in general, right? Okay, very good. In the back. Constitutional policing, very good. Think somebody.
When I listen to it, when I hear those comments, what comes to mind for me is for them to manage their responsibilities. Well,
Okay, manage their responsibilities appropriately as a department.
correct,
Very good.
meeting all those.
All of the above.
Exactly.
Very good.
Not being beholden to, police officers, associations, police union.
Okay, not being beholden to the union for the officers in the police department. I thought I saw a hand up over here. Yes.
It's something about, being a part of the community in such a way that there is a trust.
The community trust. Got it. So operate in a way that the community trusts the police department. You want to start to raise your hand? I saw you move your hand. So I was not here.
Support non-police responses to mental health issues, so like police department shouldn't be undermining any of those efforts.
Other departments or the non-police officers in the department?
Don't undermine the efforts to build up non-police responses, like the big organization.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Good. So that could be a nonprofit or another city department or just something else.
Cooperate.
Gotcha. So support other departments, other organizations' response outside of the police department. Anything else on that first question? And if you think of something later, that there's no rule that says you can't go, remember, I remember the answer for the first one. So, okay. Second question. Now we are on the police chief. Not that the department as a whole doesn't have anything to do with the police chief. Keep in mind also that your next police chief will get these answers also. So they'll be able to see what a good portion of residents of Oakland want from him or her and their department. So second question, what do you feel are the most important attributes, skills, and abilities needed to be a successful police chief in your city? What attributes, skills, and abilities do you think a person would need to have to be successful in your city? As a police chief, yes, in the back.
Personal integrity.
Personal integrity. All right, very good.
To be able to lead this team and communicate with the community.
Be able to lead his or her team and communicate with the community. And just keep in mind the ways that we will be able to see if the person has that. Obviously, they have to submit a resume and a cover letter. That will give some of their skills and their abilities on that. But they'll get interviewed by me, they'll get interviewed by the commission, they'll get interviewed by the mayor. That's another way. But we also can go back with their references and say wherever they're from, because remember they have a lengthy history. And we can see if they have the things that we talked about in their previous assignment, city position. All right, skills, attributes, and abilities. Yes, ma'am.
You need to have passion for the work they're doing.
Passion for the work they're doing. Yes, I would definitely hope they have that. Yes.
Willingness to hold officers and staff accountable regardless of their professional relationship.
A willingness to hold staff and officers accountable, regardless whether they've known them for 20 years or whatever it might be, right? Okay, very good.
I think it's about the people and, communicating, partnering with, organizations that is doing, violence and prevention work, particularly, youth-led, organizations that's, working around safety.
All right, very good. Did everybody hear that? Willing to work with other organizations, the willingness? Yes.
Able to go on the uniform day one.
Meaning certified. Is that what you're referring to? Certified to be a police officer in Oakland, day one. Gotcha. I got the hidden and the explicit meaning. I appreciate that.
How long does it take for them to get their certification?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So if they are somebody that, came up in California or Oakland, but really in California, right? And then left California, and then is coming back, they don't have to do any training. The city would submit a waiver to POST, which is the organization that governs law enforcement in California. And they would be reinstituted if they're in a leadership position, which obviously the chief is. If they have not spent any time in California, and they're truly coming from outside, but have never been a police officer in California, they would either have to go, which is in Fresno, take an 8-hour test in Fresno and pass. Then they would be certified, but that's like California laws and procedures, some of which are national, right? A lot of the procedures the police department does is constitutional, and that applies to everybody. Somebody mentioned constitutional policing. Or they can take a 4-week course, which I think your last chief is what he did. Take a 160-hour course, and at the end of that, you would be certified in California. So neither one of those are on day one, as this young lady said.
That's not totally true. They did not start until after.
Yes, but they could get certified before they start, if they've had California experience. The city could submit that letter 2 weeks before the hearing.
If they don't, they have California experience, they could get certified. And then start the job. They have to have a job before they take the test.
You know, I think they do, but I don't know for sure on that end. I had not thought about that. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, he was not in uniform on the.
No, he got a job before he was certified.
Correct, but what you're asking is, could he go take the test before he?
Get certified before he takes the job.
That I don't know for sure, so I can find that out. Yes.
I believe that where the city is, we don't want to, but, is.
Oh, no, I got exactly what you said. No, I heard it. Yeah. Yes.
And I think that leads us to, majority of people would want to see, someone who, particularly from Oakland, but at least the Bay Area, that is familiar with the Bay Area. We've had police chiefs that have come, out of state. Also, me personally, I would like to see a woman, in the position of chief as well. I don't think we have that, award,
And Courtney Patrick.
Oh, yeah, she went.
And you had a
Yeah,
interim.
she went from here.
No, she wasn't. Right. So somebody with Oakland or Bay Area experience and maybe even hopefully a woman. All right, very good.
Somebody who has the courage to stand up to federal agents and the compassion to feel the pain of most vulnerable people in.
Okay, someone that has the courage to stand up to federal agencies and have compassion for, what was the last one? The most vulnerable. Very good.
And I really need to see a police chief who is very well trained, maybe at the top of the class, knows that he is a good manager and knows that the only way he can get good work done with the citizens of Oakland is to be able to inspire these people to work hard and to do good work for the citizens of Oakland. I have a long list, but I'll just say.
I got more questions than my, some of those answers though.
Integrity
Okay, integrity.
is well trained, is a good manager, is accountable. You've heard these over,
I have.
and that's what's gonna make a good police chief. Someone who will be able to get out of his office into the community and learn about Oakland. We're a multicultural city. So he's got to appeal to a lot of different types of cultures. I would like to see that.
Yeah. It's possible. Or a woman that's able to do that. Yeah. What, I thought I saw another hand somewhere. No? Anything else on attributes or skills, abilities needed from somebody that is expected to be all the things you've already said, a great police chief and Lucy? I see you want to say something.
Yeah, the part was said about staffing. I think that we need to, definitely increase the staffing, and I do know that one, if we have financially, is we pay a lot of overtime. Right, so somehow residents need to for training, for really do the job without them relying on this is actually, my overtime. I work full time and I get a regular paycheck. One of the parts that has the capacity, right, not like they're overworked. Or feeling stressed, and once one can inspire by those symptoms, it's an affordable.
So increase staffing and address the current overtime situation.
Yes.
Very good, very good. Yes, all the way in the back.
The ability to appropriately assess situations and not overreact every time.
Regardless of what that is. Okay, willingness, ability to appropriately address situations that come up, and in every urban major city situation. Absolutely, yes.
A number of masters, was it scared people, share. They have to go to the commission and the mayor and the monitor and the council people like it's a tough job with him. So someone who is able to do that.
Okay, the ability to deal and communicate and collaborate with several masters or people that have a big say in what takes place, the ability to do that well, right? Doesn't mean you probably agree all the time, but you're able to build that trust. Yeah, very good. Yes, we'll go here and then talk to you.
I used the word earlier, and I've been thinking about it further, hearing it here, the word manage. I don't know necessarily that we want to manage it, we want to lead them. Not leader. Not leader.
Okay, a leader. All right, I think. Yeah, in the back.
Yes, someone that is culturally competent to go down to community.
Okay, ability to learn and drill down and work with all the different communities within Oakland. Very good. Very diverse city. Anything else? Please?
To that point, I don't believe the person has to.
Okay.
I don't, I grew up in Baltimore, which is kind of in the shadow of DC, like in the shadow of in San Francisco. And
Literally, because it's foggy in San Francisco. Sunny over here.
but there's this, I think that there's situations where people that have similar experiences, maybe they've solved some problems somewhere else, that could come in and bring benefit to Oakland. So, I think we'll get confidence in all of that, but I like our definition has to.
So let me ask you a question that I asked, because you're not the only person that has said the police chief doesn't necessarily have to come from Oakland. So I want to ask you a follow-up that I usually ask. So if they are not from Oakland or the Bay Area, what would you need to see or want to see from this person? I think you kind of touched on it. If they need to be from a similar type city, or what are your thoughts on somebody that does not have personal experience?
I think that there needs to be something that approximates, there's something in your experience that approximates what it's like to live in Oakland.
Yeah.
So here where we have a very diversity, have a large African American population. Hispanic population.
It's not Mayberry.
It's not, it's not, and at the same time, though, it is a area in the hills. And so I think that really has some complexity. I've been to some sessions, where all the people are above skyline. And they're more concerned about the wildfire prevention than the public safety, because the public safety is not an issue.
Not the top part.
And their voice in these sessions can be loud, because they will show up. And so, I think we need to kind of think about that as another diverse segment as opposed to the representation.
Good one, very good. Victim, yes. Y'all can ignore Monica for so long and then she comes through.
Someone who has the passion as well as the skill set to interface with community element within the community. I mean, yeah, you can knock a bunch of people in the head, but reach out and Oakland has programs and working that has reduced a lot of homicides, but are willing to do community policing and believe in it, not just, okay, I get paid, so I need to do it. But they really believe in that spirit of working with the community and trying to deal with that part of our community.
So public safety, but like a holistic approach to it, not just enforcement, but holistic, okay, very good. I think somebody in the back, no?
I'm just building on what Brother Zuba said. It'd be great if the person had a demonstrated track record of reducing disparities in the way certain populations are policed.
Okay. Anything else on that question? Skills, abilities? All right, I'm gonna go to the third question. This is, some of you have probably already answered some of this, but I want to ask it anyway, just in case there's a few other things that you have to add. But specific to leadership, what leadership qualities do you feel a successful person would need to have to be successful? Leader, specific to leadership, what leadership quality? And you've already mentioned several, but I want to make sure we ask that question in case you have some additional. Yes.
Humility.
Very good, humility. All right, anything, yes.
That person should come here with knowledge of best practices, whether it's here in Oakland or in another big city or city center of ours. And be able to not only come in with best practices or recommendations, but be able to listen and to work with the commission, to work with the citizen, to be able to come up with plans like here and go with the longevity, that person here and improve the image.
Very good. Knowledge of best practices, which new stuff comes up all the time. Yes, all the way in the back.
Somebody who's teachable, somebody who doesn't know everything, is still open to still learning.
Which is good, because these people will have a ton of experience, but if they still feel there's things they can learn. That's somebody mentioned humble, but very good. Yes. Say that again.
Optimism.
Optimism about Oakland, right? Is what you're referring to? Okay. Optimism.
Someone who has strong faith in God, they know how to do their job. But I'm afraid of a human who doesn't have faith in God. I don't care what religion. But I have some kind of substance with a relationship.
That'll be interesting how we get to that. Do it through an interview process for those HR people here, but. Oh, good point. Good point. Hey, that's what I said, Dave. That's what you got.
Some of the leadership training that I've done as well as participated in, one of the things that I understand leaders do well is they don't tell you how to get there, but they tell you where the target is. One leadership course that I took, the last day, they showed us Marston's I have a dream speech. And there was not a dry eye in the room. The future that he painted for us, Didn't tell us how to get there, but
You can see,
both Joe, Stevie Wonder was saying that, yeah.
very good, very good.
Someone who has the skills, articulations, and from the mics that are being constantly shown on television, their view comes across as believable, not just a fake, but as I specific plan on how he wants to address things. As a priority, top 10, but I need to see what you're hearing from all those questions, what I'm hearing as you tally this all together. Majority of the residents of Oakland want to see A, B, C, D. These are things that I have heard from you. This is my plan to attack those things.
So in other words, when you all see your chief on TV, you have confidence. When you look at it, you're like, okay. Even if I don't 100% agree with every single thing they're saying, I have confidence that there's a plan and we might actually get it. Very good, very cool.
I think the chief needs to be a motivator for all the police officers that will be underneath them, and a motivator to the citizens of the city, so that they realize we're moving forward.
Great. I mean, one of the most influential, powerful positions in your city is the police department. Definitely one of the most visible arms of government in any city.
Basic respect for everyone and great listening skills to really be able to hear what people are saying, digest it, and see what it means.
Very good, very good. Anything else on that last question? I still got 2 more, so. I'll be not here yet. All right. Next question. The first question I asked you was about the department in general. What do you feel should be the top priorities for your police department? This question is the same question, but specific to the police chief. So there might be some overlap with what you said about the department. That needs to be one of the chief's top priorities too. But there might be also maybe some more specific things that are specific to the chief. So as you answer this question, think about, as your police chief is sworn in, you hear from the mayor, this person is going to be your next police chief, and they're starting today. Over the next 6 months or so, what do you think their top priorities should be? So what do you feel the top priorities for your police chief should be when they step into that role, starting from the beginning? Yes, in the back.
Learning some of the concerns from the community, hearing the words from the community members themselves.
So they gotta go talk to the community.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Learning from all the different communities, what the concerns are, the issues and challenges and all those. Very good. Who else? Top priorities for your police chief on day 1. Yes, over here on. Right, here left.
They need to, figure out what they have on his staff.
Okay,
Yeah, get out there immediately and meet your officers.
okay.
Figure out who they are. And you can tell pretty quickly the ones that like to do.
Motivation.
Yeah.
All right, get to know their staff, kind of the lay of the land, what's going on, that sort of thing, okay?
I can agree with that last comment, the most. He needs to just call and meet and meeting their staff, his people, other guys.
Or she.
Yes, and listen to what their concerns are.
Yes.
Remind them of their oath and that they are public servants. And then he needs to lay out how he plans to have their back. If and
If they're doing what, being public service, right?
yes. Yes, if they're following the true oath that they do.
Right, perfect.
Yeah, just to add a little on to what Camille was saying, kind of similar to what's being done right now, the holistic sessions, but in each district. And learning what the priorities, safety priorities or concerns because each district of Oakland has different priorities. And concerns, exactly. And again, just going back to, kind of what I was saying earlier, building, a relationship with, not just the community, but the organizations that's, working with our, seniors, young folks, and also faith-based, institutions.
As a priority, figure out what to do with NSA. It should be a priority to get out from underneath the federal monitoring. Number two, deal with the future staffing issues. I see that there are 70 people who are planning on retiring in this year. That's 70, and I think we have 495 currently. That's a big percentage, so we have to improve staffing, desirability of wanting to become a police officer, whatever that takes. And thirdly, there's a lot of overtime that is not clear. There's also people with disability that's not there, or maybe it is, but it's not necessarily transparent. So the city has a shortage of funds, so you have to manage the budget. One way to do that is to deal with the overtime issue possibly.
Very good.
I think also that in all this engagement, community and staffing, that the regional engagement with other cities and their chiefs. A lot of, when I think about some of the highly visible issues that happen in Oakland, like the shooting of a kid.
Cross lines is what you're saying?
Well, they were just driving along 80 heading to Fremont, and they're trying to happen in Oakland, but it wasn't, and you got, the jurisdiction had to be Oakland. And became this whole Oakland thing, not like the region, not like the cities that are around, and. We have these freeways that it's easy to get in and out of them. 24, 30.
Unless you're getting off the exit near the zoo today,
Yes.
then it's not so easy.
There's roads out there. But, yeah, so a lot of, I think that notion of how they collaborate, and I've seen some starting of that, but I think that needs to be more strategic.
And that might be even more important in the Bay Area than some other areas, because there's so many cities. All that touch each other, so you drive 2 blocks, you're in this city, 2 more blocks, you're in that city, and some other places. I like it. Yeah, very good.
I would like where the incoming chief coming in, to, look at and reexamine the contract that the city has blocked. And getting rid of that contract as other block. Getting rid of the block contracts, which puts the city in a vulnerable position to, get sued for federal violations, so I would like them to look at that.
Does everybody know what flock is?
No.
Yes.
Okay, block is part of the camera system and sharing of information. I think that's what.
Also shares their information legally if other cities have sued.
Yeah.
And all the possible.
So flock can have cameras, license plate readers, so if people have access to that, they can see your car went through X intersection at this time. So that's what you use right.
But they're
Just wanna
not
make sure
supposed to share your information.
Yeah, but I mean, you're, in theory, you're supposed to be able to set who can share, who can't share as the city.
Right.
Anything else on the top priorities for the police chief themselves? Yeah.
I know we mentioned a number of sections like this that we have, but there are so many youth and young adults and those with language barriers and those who are intimidated by the police, that this person would need a strategic plan to communicate with, to engage with those individuals who aren't ready to show up or speak up or come out, whether they have ambassadors that come out to engage. Just need to think about under.
Very good. Anything else on the top priorities for the police chief? Yes, right to you.
I think the police chief needs to have a commitment to reinstate the neighborhood councils, which were designated last year. And that's part of community policing here in Oakland. And so if you don't get that direct response from the citizens, and it's divided by police beats, not.
And it was through the police department, they would
It
be
was-
giving this information.
And you would have a dedicated police officer in each one of the areas that would take care of things for the citizens. And so again, it was a financial issue, but it is integral to being successful and for the community to engage with the police.
And what were they called again?
Neighborhood council.
Neighborhood council.
Just to clarify, the officers themselves were called the community resource officers.
And somebody mentioned it's a financial issue, but you know, everything's a financial issue, right? Like, so some people might have, you know, I remember a police chief that, the only police chief the Sacramento Police Department ever hired from outside the department. And he is universally hated to this day, and in my opinion, he's the best police chief we ever had. He found money to do things, through the federal government, through other entities. He kept people from being laid off, he protected programs like that, because I don't know how he did it, I was a young pup, I wasn't paying much attention back then, but he found money. So even though, like, most of what you talk about, or at least some of what you talk about, potentially could be a financial issue, and some people are able to solve those issues and some people aren't. All right, what else on top priority? All the way in the back.
Since we're talking about overtime, I think one of the other issues is that we should have a chief that understands municipal finance. Because it's important to how the city, state votes and to the, Richard's point, neighborhood services is the division that oversees the council. So that is a department within the city. Police, we vet in the police department and then back into the city administrator's office. That office of liaison between the police, the council, and the administration, and losing that office. And then we also lost our CROs.
Yeah, municipal finance, like if a police chief sees it as holistic as all of you have mentioned, right? Businesses that want to locate and open, one of their concerns is, are my employees gonna be safe? Right, so a police chief could be a big concern of that, amongst other.
It occurs to me that one of the things that may be important is for the police chief to recognize the needs and his own limitations. And to find people either currently in the department or in the city government that he can rely on.
That fill those gaps.
To assist him.
Very good. Meaning he needs to be willing to collaborate, not be the big poobah and everything. Yes. I saw your hand halfway up. I thought maybe you were trying to be shy. Okay, well, we're gonna get you unshy.
I want to go back to the quality, because as I was listening, I want to add to those quality, leadership qualities, being able to attract leaders. Okay, and then also, to somehow be, challenged by the problem solving goal, like not coming in thinking everything is good, but being excited about the fact that I can solve these problems, I have ideas. So that notion of a problem solver, I think.
And relish in that. Like,
Yes, relish.
oh, good. You don't think I can solve this? Huh? All right, got it.
Not sure what this falls in, but officer retention. I've read so much that officers work here, they have a lot of experience, they leave, it's safer community, make much more money. How do you keep retention, how do you retain the office? When you bring them in, we train them, we pay them, then they leave, how do you keep them? That's gotta be a big part of the job.
Yeah, if you're losing more than you're bringing in, you're getting behind. I thought I saw. Oh, yeah, right behind.
I just wanted to say I use he pronouns because I'm old. And I would really love to see a she pronoun kind of police chief.
That's it, right up here, right? She said she'd really like to see somebody with a she pronoun be the chief. Because everybody's been kind of saying he. Was that your question? You didn't have? Oh, okay.
missed it.
Oh, okay.
There's been some really great points that have been made. And I also feel that some things the police chief can't do all the way. There needs to be some cultural changes in OPD specifically. And so even, after we get, the chief, how can we continue these conversations to see the changes that we want to see within the Oakland Police Department and not just within individual.
Gotcha. Very good. Which means they have to be open-minded about it. That's the way we always did it, and we're gonna keep doing it. All right, right here.
And it shouldn't go as far as it, but having an individual, he or she.
Very good. You're a quick learner.
A person who is, once they're achieved, coming back to us, the community, and saying, I need your help. This is what you can do. Not just vaguely, oh, we just fine, oh, we need to do.
We're in this together.
Yes, and involving us is in being leaders, a leader is guiding us to what we can do to mitigate whatever he sees or she sees as, right?
Very good. And that's all another person.
I also think succession planning is important, so I'd like to see the chief train other leaders and prepare others to.
So in other words, what you're saying is the next time somebody is standing in front of you talking about the next chief, you guys are all, well, I know 2 deputy chiefs that would be great chiefs, right? You'd be naming them. All right, good. Anything else on that question? Nobody else has any thoughts? Okay, last question before we open it up to anything we missed. And some of you mentioned, like you mentioned that even if they're not from Oakland, they're from an urban major city, so this would be kind of an answer. That would be an answer to this question. The folks that the commission will be looking at, for sure, the folks that they think are worthy of being moved on to the mayor, the much smaller group, are gonna be people with an extensive history, both professional and personal. Right, they're probably gonna, my guess would be they'll probably at least gonna have 20 years of law enforcement, just in regards to law enforcement. They're gonna be a captain or above, so they're gonna have a lot of stuff that we could look at of what they've done before they ever get to an interview. Right, what assignments that they had, what relationships did they have in their communities and things like that. So with that in mind, what would you like to see in your next potential police chief in their background that might give you some confidence, okay, they could be successful in my city because they've done this or that in their background? What background would give you some confidence that they could be successful in your city?
Well, I'd like to know more than just the jobs they held, the positions, because, people go up to the top for a lot of different reasons. But I'd like for them to be able to present real, proven accomplishments, things that they've done that improved where they were to the point that you could see that happening here. Not just telling us what the positions they held, but I'd like to see them present all their achievements.
So like that might look like, is what you're referring to is in an interview, not just talk about your philosophy, but have where you've actually done it.
Of things that you did and where you started and what happened.
Okay.
To
What the results?
the results.
Yeah, very good. I like it. Right.
I too would like to see some proven successes, but primarily for the 6 tenants of community policing. Because I think what we're hearing from everybody here is sort of a line that fits under community policing. So I would want the new chief to have some experience in it, some wins in it. And where they might see the most difficult parts of it implemented in their previous position.
Okay, very good. All the way back.
I agree with what you said about community policing. In addition to community policing, the ability to leverage, based on their experience, if they've ever done any ceasefire work. The city touts ceasefire is one of our, public safety strategies or complements the police department. However, to have the ability to stand on that or have had some experience with that.
Very good. I assume everybody in here heard of ceasefire? Was there somebody on the side that? All right, what else in their background would give you confidence that they can handle your city?
In addition to ceasefire type of programs, non-police response, it would be awesome if, excuse me, that's not a non-police response, the ceasefire being a targeted, data-driven response to crime, to have some background in working with non-police responses such as macro in Oakland, that they've had experience in building relationships or collaborating with that kind of program.
Ceasefire has some, what I call non-law enforcement aspects to it.
I'm not sure how that have some exposure to mental health crisis, not that he or she, the therapist, but having some exposure and understanding and appreciation for what it takes to address if I'm having mental crisis. Do I need police officer or maybe I need to collaborate with other resources? I'm going to be aware that Berkeley has a program. I don't know what the name of it is, but if I'm having a mental crisis, you call the police. Police will show up. If there's a mental crisis, therapist that assisted and they stayed back. With that, I believe it's a funding issue, but something exposed to something of that type that we get, a lot of our people are drug addicts and mental issues that we see in flatlets.
And there's a lot of models, various models that do that around the country that are all a little different. You're next.
I understood the question, I can see it, that's just true.
Yeah.
If they have any experience with sideshows and illegal fireworks. I mean, last night was a good issue, another was a game, but after the game, we're gonna come to the summer camp and we're gonna be inundated with fireworks, not only that it's a nuisance, but it's a danger. And then sideshows, a lot of times people don't even reside at home.
Yeah.
If we can catch those people and do something more aggressive with them, I think would be helpful. If you got any kind of experience or address what we could do for those issues.
Got it. All the way in the back. If he doesn't normally need a mic.
So, people were speaking, or you were saying that one can reach the top for many different needs. I suppose if there were metrics that would gauge whether or not success was reached, not just by a higher position being vacant and they were next in line, but by actually receiving recommendations and nominations and accolades that merited them taking the position other than it just needed to be built and they suggested.
So look at their path to how they rose up through the ranks and the cost of that and all that.
Yeah, and so I guess the fear would be having someone that is just interested in, raising their career and not necessarily.
I understand, yes. Oh, there's something.
I'd be interested in knowing if they've had experience dealing with any community oversight bodies, like this commission. I know there's not a lot of cities that have that, but what has been their experience with, oversight and direction from a commission? And also, I'm sure it's something you look at, but why they left their place.
There's actually,
How long they were there.
yeah, there's actually a lot of cities that have police commissions, but they're all a little different in terms of their authority and their power and all that, but there's actually quite a few commissions around the country.
Oakland haven't had a consistent police chief, for a while. But yet violent crime has still decreased. Property crime and other theft, continues to increase. We know that's because of numerous issues. But it has caused us to lose investments in the city and businesses wanting to come. And so I would love to see, the police chief, future chief, continue to support the programs that have been working to reduce, violent crime. Also communicating what their plan is to, with potential investors and other people that want to, do business with the city, of what their plan is to reduce, theft in different types of, retail crime. And I was losing my last thought, but yeah, partnering and meeting with these, potential, shareholders and folks that, want to do business with the city and having, a structured plan.
Yes.
I think we've had 11 police chiefs in 15 years.
It's more than a couple.
I believe we had 11 police chiefs in 15 years. How long is the contract term for the position?
That will be up to the mayor, and I think council even has a role in approving their contract, I believe, I've been told. So, you could have a contract and chief still needs to show that contract.
But, that does set a target, let somebody know the expectations are, we want you to be around 3 years, we probably need one minimum for what I think is a fair contractual term. Because it takes at least a year to get to know everybody, you meet all the different communities and people you need to collaborate with. Then you've got a year to make it happen, then you get to see.
You got a year to
some results. Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah, I can tell you the average lifespan of a police chief, if you will, has traditionally for a while been about 3.5. I think it might be a little bit less than that, 3.5 years. Especially in a major urban city, that there's a lot going on. So like I can't think of a chief in a major urban city that's been police chief for like 10 years. It just doesn't.
Even though the federal presence in our cities has only been about a year, I would want to know whether.
You mean other agencies? Not courts, you're not talking about.
I'm talking about National Guard.
Gotcha.
And ICE. Coming into urban areas, it's been threatened, of course, that, they could come to Oakland again. I'd want to know whether the police chief would be comfortable with non-compliance or cooperation. And where, and how would he support the community driven, just sort of like that.
No, I'm glad you referenced that, the tenure of police chiefs, because I've wondered if 20 years is too much.
Yes. Oh, you mean if they have 20 years old?
If they have 20 years, I just think about, for those of you at this church, it's kind of refreshing to have a young 30-something pastor. Who sees things differently and approaches things in a different way. And so I just wonder, when you think about the chief is coming, they already have 20 years or maybe more. And then they only be here 3 years, are they come to retire or are they come to? I want to come to the back of change. And it might take more than 3 years. And so that's back to this kind of like being relishing problem solving. So I get it that that's already done, but I don't know, I would, if we could rethink that, there may be some talent somewhere that's not rising up because. You know, inherently, people know, well, you gotta have here 20 years before you. So, I just thought about that. And then also, in that background, I don't know how you do this out. But what happened in Antioch, those officers and keeping the texting and all of that. That threatened me, that we could have people who are serving us, who speak like that among themselves. Yes, yeah, so we need to figure out how to uncover any of that kind of, belief system. And my last point is, I would love somebody to be Christian like me, but everybody would, everybody ain't going to heaven who goes to church. And so I think it's like the character part of it is really, I think that's what I would be looking for this commission to kind of get that sense of reality of that person's character is, and the best way you can.
And keep in mind, if somebody starts as a police officer, say at 22, 23 years old, 20 years, they're only 42 years old.
Yeah, so it's not 20, I don't think it's 20 years in a leadership position, so I have it as a minimum of 10 years continuous experience in municipal law enforcement, 5 years at the level equivalent to police captain or commander or above.
Yeah.
And a minimum of 2,
Whole.
and a minimum of 2 as deputy chief in medium to large law enforcement agency is desired, that part's desired.
Yeah,
But so
they can
15 years in total, yeah.
That's just coming from somebody that in their late 40s, pretty young.
I wanna follow a little bit on the character aspect that Diana was raising. So to give as somehow. What really bad experience, really bad controversy, really horrific error that scandal they might have encountered in their experience. And how I handle it, you know, and I know in every job interview, will say, oh, that was really, you know, feel very real sometimes, but rather than find out later that there was some kind of deep step they didn't know about, but rather it's gonna be deep stuff in years in urban department. What was the really toughest one you thought you had? And then what made you think that you did it appropriately? What did you learn? Something like that. Acknowledging that we're asking you possible, but you know, what we just described, and how you might do.
Yeah, if somebody from a major urban city comes up with some issue that's a little tiny issue, I'd be wondering what, because every major urban city has something that has happened. Yes, absolutely.
As I listen, one of the things that is very dear to me as a native of Oakland has always been my family. So I want to see somebody who can appreciate that, have that for themselves, because they'll be able to appreciate my love and concern for my family, which has always been in Oakland because that's where I'm from. And it still is, I'm living for the rest of my life. God, we will, so that is important to me, but also like some of the major mistakes they've made and they overcome and how they got through that. Because it's going to be some mistakes that's going to be made. There's going to be some things that are going to happen that we're not going to particularly like. How are we going to make it through that and be okay and not have to start all over and tear everything and just do it, especially if the career of the chief of 23 years.
What you're saying is you don't want to hire the perfect chief because there's no such thing? I agree. Anything else on what you, in terms of their background, would give you confidence that they got a shot at being a really good chief? Yes, two in the back.
I'm a major concern about gang violence. We see it growing all over the country. I think, and I know that here in Oakland, maybe, for as much as it should be, but I know that it's a major issue. And it's in the schools, and they come out of the schools, and it's not lack of success there because everything that happens in the influences. But how are we going to address that? Because I think that is too broad. The critical aspects, we want to be able to figure out how to change that, change it.
So what is their experience in their past assignments with gangs? You didn't need it, Mike, earlier.
What is the background? Should we know about their background in sex trafficking? What have they put in place?
Okay. All the way back.
I also be very interested in their education, where they went to school, different environments they thrive. So if they're from Oakland and they went away to go to school, like when I was doing, and then come back home.
School meeting, college, I assume.
Or school meeting,
Okay.
where they would, different things that they would, study, and the different training they had exposure to based off of there.
Very good. Yeah, officers go to a lot of training that aren't traditional college. So, yeah, where, what's that? Very good. Anything else before I open it up to anything we missed that you feel is critical?
Even in church, interested in their, experience, relationship with faith community.
Good, good, good. Okay. Author get her steps.
Yeah.
Not have to work out.
I would like to see the group's chief projected into strength. Just come before us and speak plainly to us, the people, and say quite plainly, we want you people that are doing Millie's, Larry's, and the side, don't come to over. Don't bring your trash. We are not adults, you have to be strong and project that strength. I worked under Mayor Emily Harris, and I loved him. I served on the environmental affairs committee. And I'm so proud we were able to get the port dredged so that the bigger ships could come in. And I love the way he managed this through the Oakland Hills fire and the earthquake. So I'm gonna see some strength. And of course, he just happened to do every part of stuff like I.
Just saying.
Yeah.
All right, anything that we did not cover that you think is pretty critical for your next police chief? Yes.
Hi, my name's Dave Willis. I live at home here playing chess at one brewer. And I don't want to get long-winded because you can easily do that, but I think that everybody here has good ideas, from sex trafficking, gang, side shows, all the stuff that answering the phone. You can't get phones. But one thing with all these different police chiefs, from our woman going and suing and getting money, going to New Orleans, I hear she's doing a good job, man. Or coming in from Texas Tech and loving and moving to Fremont. Hey, Fremont's a pretty nice place, or baseline. Or Josh Shady's moving to Piedmont. He led our chief of police. A lot of people use Oakland as a stepping stone, but I think one of the reasons why Oakland is being used as a stepping stone is we're going out as what are we looking for in police? Instead of what the police commission, the mayor, and everyone is gonna recruit to work with them, because we say, well, he's gonna jump through a lot of hoops, police commission, the mayor, all these different advocacy groups, this state oversight is evidently still involved. that person, he or she is gonna work all through that stuff, so we probably had, and I think we had some pretty good. I think this man that was here before was pretty qualified and gonna do a pretty good job, but I think basically he was just hammered by all the downtown bureaucracy and all this stuff. We need to reel in our policemen to keep them from getting in trouble. You can't have our policemen shooting guns off into service elevators and throwing the shells out of the main bridge. I've never heard a prop story that's in it. Or a policeman going in an Oakland police lighted car, what do you call it, a black and white at 1139 Vallejo and T-boning a woman, borrowing the police car to go home, T-boning her, $12.5 million she lose. Or a policeman who goes to Amsterdam, they get some Malcolm weight, some German Shepherd Malcolm weights, they bring them home and then he puts them in his own group to make them with his own police dogs that he's training to make a profit. And those things with this police department and this police union and lack of trust. I'm a 7-year-old man. I used to love the police in 7th grade. I wanted to be a policeman. And as I got older and older, nothing but respect, nothing but respect. Now as I get older and I'm older, and I see a policeman that give you this limp here and handshake, I'm just totally disappointed. I would not trust any police officers at all unless I really do. And I don't. But the new police chief, he or she's got a lot of work to do because he's gonna be disappointed in what he sees every day when he has to deal with the bureaucracy. And we have to streamline it more and let him make decisions as a policeman about the police department. I think that's really important.
Which probably a requirement of that is those groups that you talk about have confidence in it.
Well, then don't hire him if you don't have confidence.
Well, sure. I would think people wouldn't hire somebody they have confidence, but you could lose.
Basically, we had confidence last time we hired. And evidently something happened, he left, but someone else recruited his confidence in him. And we did have a conference in Kilpatrick, but she left and she's in Orleans. And she's done with a lot of hardships and a lot of stuff down there, including that mass shooting. And I've heard that she's doing a pretty good job there, so,
I heard the same. Who was not in the city that had to.
We gotta work on retention. And training.
Anything else? All right. Well, I just want to say, on a Sunday, this is, I think, the largest. I wasn't at the second meeting, but this is the largest group we've had, so I just want to say thank you for taking your time on a Sunday. I'm sure you could have been doing some other things, but I appreciate this. This for sure helps me when I talk to the candidates and interview the candidates, and I'm sure it helps the commissioners that are here and the ones that aren't. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chief Imani. I just want to say, this Angela, Commissioner Jackson Chastain, the Police Commission Ad Hoc Committee has been working tirelessly to find you a new mayor. Chief. Not a new mayor. Twofer. That they have to give the names to the mayor, who then will make the decision. And I just really want you to know that they're doing this on behalf of the full commission. So they're doing all the heavy lifting. So I just wanted to make sure you're clear about this amazing team that's in place doing that. We have a couple more events that we're going to have. One's going to be on the 25th, and it's going to be in the Cesar Chavez Library Branch. There's going to be another on the 30th, and that's going to be at DeFremery Park. And our final one will be at the Oakland Asian Cultural Center on April 2nd. So please spread the word. There's literature out on the table. There's QR codes for our website that you can access all of this information, QR codes for the surveys that you can share with other people, and please subscribe so that you know more about what's going on. And Miss Sandy, I'm sure she will attest, because she is now on the selection panel. I heard a lot of talent in this room. Consider being a commissioner.
And if you are interested in doing that, definitely go to the selection panel or you can go to our website. We need people like these amazing people we already have that are going to continue to move the needle as volunteers for our community. So I wanted to say thank you so much. Thank you for the pastor, to the church for having us and hosting us here. And thank you. Have a good.
Thank you,
rest of the day.
Monica, for hanging around.
Maria.
You guys want to say anything before you close up? Okay. Thank you.
Angela, is it possible to get a picture of all of you with some of the social justice things? So, we'll see. Social Justice Ministry, please come to the front. Thank you. Yeah. First. I don't think so. Yeah. You have to be there. Okay. Oh my God. I'm drinking water with you. Love me. Right. I gotta go home. Thank you for everything. Wow.
Right.
Did she? Yeah, I did.
All right, see you.
Mike, I gotta run.
Oh, we got caught, sorry.
Mike, I gotta run. All right, we'll see you. We'll see you.
Good, you got it?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, cool, see you later.
Bye.
Fingers okay? They were talking, they were acting.
I got some notes. Not a problem. I've been taking this. Diana. And the two Susans.
Yes, exactly. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, well, I have. Oh, so I think we need some people on the steps. Everyone. Thank you.
Might be too tall to be standing.
Susan left at around 2:50.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, great, guys, great. Good. Very good. Cool. Cool, thanks. Can I be picky here? Can I move that chair?
That's a good start, right? Nothing is good at the start.
Okay. You wanna get the picture too? All right, you guys. Perfect, thank you. I love this. Perfect. Okay. And on count of three, one more, you guys raise your hands like, yes, you can. Yes. Perfect, thank you. Thank you.
For having me.
Oh. People were like, oh, it's so crazy. Oh, yeah.